As Ege Uluca already introduced myself, we are together working in the Eastern Mediterranean University Department of Architecture, and we are running the restoration classes together or sometime individually. As she already started to explain the conditions of those buildings in the Meselian villages, in this paper we are focusing on one of the village and the traditional residential building stock condition of these buildings are going to be presented in line with this presentation. So our title here is that Earthen Heritage Adobe Housing Tradition of Alaniçi village in northern Cyprus. As I said at the beginning, we are focusing on to analyze or examining the spatial typology, construction techniques, and conservation issues of these buildings. We found out that Adobe construction represents an integrated vernacular knowledge system embedded in that rural life and social practices. However, today, modernization and inadequate conservation policies threaten this heritage, highlighting the need for systematic documentation and context-sensitive conservation. Before going to the detail of those buildings, we are giving a short theoretical background about the vernacular architecture. It is an interdisciplinary field drawing from architecture, anthropology, geography, and cultural studies. According to the Rappaport, he defined the house form of a cultural expression of built form, and those buildings are produced by local communities through traditional knowledge system and reflect the social values, economic relations, and environmental adaptation and strategies. So why these definitions are important? Actually, when we are willing to protect those buildings, we shouldn't see them as a physical entity, which they represent actually the identity of those villages. Since they produced by the local knowledge or they are also reflecting those intangible values. That's why they have to be protected, because of those intangible heritage values of these structures. Adobe as a sustainable and climatic responsive material according to the Fatih. Traditional housing as a cultural production system embedded in the social practices and spatial traditions. These are the definitions taken from Kuban and Erdem. Studies conducted by Işık show that Adobe structures are not only a traditional material but also a potential building system for modern sustainable architecture. And as I said before, and it is already declared by the UNESCO, they have tangible and intangible values. So when we come to the northern Cyprus case, Adobe itself has been one of the principal construction material for the rural villages, and it is offered an affordable, durable, and climate responsive building solution using locally available soil. As we said at the beginning, we analyze the spatial and typological characteristics, document the construction techniques, and assess their conservation problems. We run the qualitative methodology when we are doing our research. So we made a field observation, architectural survey, and photographic documentation and typology analysis. When we came to the contextual character of the village itself, we can see that it is a small rural village which is developed in a, of course, organic urban pattern. So we have, according to lack of formal planning, and results of that lack of master planning or local formal planning, there is narrow streets, irregular parcel patterns, and courtyard type of building or housing units we can see, which they are dominating the urban rural pattern of that site. As we said before, as being always in the rural side, there is a strong social interaction supported by the shared outdoor spaces, and the climatic adaptation through the compact forms and the courtyards are some of the contextual characters found in the village. Apart from this traditional character, of course, the village started to have some modern buildings, as you see in this slide. So we can say, as it is presented by my colleague Ege Hoca, it is same here, which we have a symmetrical plan or a linear plan, which is developed according to that modular system. And we can say that single-story courtyard house is dominant typology here, and the Adobe structures arranged in a linear or L-shaped layouts. Arched front porch actually providing the shade and the spatial transition between outdoor and indoor spaces. And as I said, we have a symmetrical plan with a central entrance and the side rooms. These are some of the drawings which we produce from the site, according to some of the cases. Of course, it's not possible to make all the documentation of the all buildings in this in that study. So what we found as a construction system generally for those arch houses here, traditional Adobe construction based on the earth building knowledge already shows itself. Sun-dried Adobe bricks light on the stone foundation, which is preventing the moisture to penetrate through the space. We have, of course, that Adobe walls providing high thermal mass and indoor comfort. As well as we have timber roof structure, and compacted soil is the main floor material in these residential units. We have realized, of course, due to the abandonment, we have many problems which we group them as material or structural problems in these residential stocks. And the main climatical factor which is negatively affecting the building is the water itself. And we have seen that there are loss of material in those buildings. The plaster or the partial or the totally roof or the wall might be collapsed. And as well as we have found that there are some incompatible interventions done by the locals or the villagers, we can say. And these are some of the material structure problems that we have found. As already mentioned in the previous presentation, of course today we are in favor of being in a modern buildings. And those buildings are the modest one. And in terms of total meter square, they are maybe small for our family size today. And those modern needs are not met by those Adobe houses currently. And we have also some perceptions by the villagers according to those buildings or regarding to those buildings. They said that they are old, or they are finding them as outdated or old-fashioned. And therefore, they are willing to move from those buildings to have their modern or, let's say, much more nice or beautiful buildings, let's say, as we see in the previous slides. And this is also very bad, a kind of, and it is affecting negatively to the character of those buildings and the context itself. And accordingly, they become vacant or abandoned. Also, I didn't mention at the beginning, the wet spaces in those houses are already designed out of the building and they are at the garden. So this is also another reason maybe the villagers are not willing to continue to live in those buildings. Or sometimes they are bringing them into the house, and those bad interventions are also creating a negative impact into the identity of these buildings. What we have also, which provide also some negative or disadvantages for protection of those buildings, we have lack of specific legal issues regarding to the rural site in northern Cyprus. So here we have urban focus regulations, and there is also we can easily take permits from the local authority to destroy or to demolish those buildings, as already mentioned by the Ege Hoca before, and there is a lack of clear rural conservation guidelines in our country. As well as we have low awareness of a heritage value by authorities and the locals. Lack of skilled craftsmen and the materials also is another problem. And mainly cement, plaster, PVC windows and the concrete additions are also providing some problems for the buildings. So what we are suggesting, of course, first of all these inadequate intervention has to be removed or cleaned from these buildings. According to the Venice Charter's principles, all this restoration has to be done. Where the traditional setting exists, we have to run all these restorations in line with these traditional materials and the construction techniques, as we all know from the Venice Charter principle. So replacements of the missing materials, production of the missing elements, or cleaning the incompatible materials has to be done according to the existence of the local materials and the construction techniques. And Alaniçi already demonstrated the Adobe construct architecture functions as a holistic system integrating environmental adaptation, social organization, and cultural expression. Despite its sustainability potential, current planning and conservation approaches in northern Cyprus largely fail to address vernacular values and the traditional knowledge. Effective conservation, therefore, needed not only to solve the technical problems, but also the protection of intangible heritage, including the craftsmanship, social practices, and the local building knowledge. We have to have a strong legal framework for the rural side. We should have a training programs for the traditional techniques. We have to improve and increase the awareness campaigns for the local community and use the traditional material and the methods. As well as we should have a local workshop for the villagers to make them to produce their own material or own building shutters, whatever, in their village. As a conclusion, we can say that Adobe houses in Alaniçi village represent a coherent vernacular system shaped by the environmental conditions, local materials, and cultural practices. And the Adobe architecture should be recognized as a sustainable heritage tradition requiring systematic documentation and context-sensitive conservation. Thank you for your listening.
There is a question, I think.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Artemis. I'm an architect from the south.
So, yeah.
So
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I'm very embarrassed because I don't know much about what's happening in the north side. Okay, so in the south side, there's a government scheme where you have buildings that are traditionally made that can be declared as listed, and then the government can give grants to people who want to renovate these houses. It's a bit of a fiasco because they give grants, but at the same time they're way more expensive than conventional buildings, so it doesn't really help people. But I wanted to know if there's a similar framework in the north side, or if there works towards a similar framework. This is the first question. The second question, I'm an architect that specializes in earth building, and I'm trying to do this in new constructions as well. And I'm facing a lot of difficulties in the south in terms of legal framework. So I want to ask if you or anyone here knows what the legal difficulties are in using these materials in contemporary settings. And the third question, I forgot.
Yes, I think we are in even in worse conditions. We don't have any grants. We do registration in cities, not in villages, and we say to people, pay for it. You save this building as our common heritage, as our national heritage, but do it yourself. Don't ask for any help. So it's not very well working in many cases, and that's the same for us. Our legislation is not also defined for producing new mud brick buildings.
In the south side, you're not allowed to do a new Adobe building because they consider it not insulative enough.
That's even funnier. No, we discussed it before. For especially civil engineering approvals, they are not accepting it strong enough. So yours are thinking it's not well insulated, ours are thinking it's not well load bearing. So I don't know how we can convince them.
I think we are a very small country, and I like the last slide where you were saying we need to do more workshops, train people.
Yeah.
I think this should be a bi-communal effort.
Yeah,
I think.
that will be really good to, join our efforts for a better preservation of these buildings. And we really need increasing awareness, I think, because when we go to villages, many people are not aware of the good characteristics of these buildings. Second, if they want to do something, they go to a builder, and the builder's only suggestion is cement plastering. So first, we should convince. And last time we went to take some more photos together with my colleague to Alaniçi, and I met someone there, and I said, "You didn't preserve these buildings. That's such a loss." And he said, "Now we want to preserve the remaining ones, but this is too expensive. We can't do it." Thank you.
Thank you.